So yeah, alongside me, I have Zonal President Zone 4 and Trophy's head Shesh Dardwal for the brief decoding session of GSEN. Okay. Um. Yeah. Wait. I'm just going. हाँ अब दिख रहा होगा. Now it is seen. Hi guys, hi everyone. So alongside me, I have Zonal President Zone for Anubhav and Trophy's head Shesht for the brief decoding session of GSEN for 68th year of NASA India.
Anubhav,
Yes.
once sir
President of Zone 4. Along with me, I have our trophies head Sresh Dadwal and Zonal President Zone 5 Anshuman Gupta. We are truly grateful to have with us today our 68th-year GSEN Trophy moderator Sanjeev Vidyarthi sir, along with our co-moderator Neha Nair Mam, for this brief decode session. A very warm welcome and heartfelt greetings to both of you, sir and ma'am. At the very beginning of this session, I would like to request both sir and ma'am to give us a brief overview of this year's GSEN Trophy and help us to understand the intent behind it. Over to you, sir and ma'am.
Sure. Neha, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, jumping right into the details of the brief, I'm sure you've all read, deliberated, and discussed this amongst yourself multiple times. And just to kind of start off by saying that, as you know, that since last two GSEN trophies, the context of the pilgrimage towns have been discussed and looked at the larger scale of the town itself, moving closer to the temple with the water body and water as an important thing. This year's GSEN Trophy is primarily looking at another layer of these pilgrimage towns, which is not directly the deity and the temple, but people who really conduct these towns as, you know, they're kind of like the roots of the town, which are the people themselves. And something that was a part of the discussion of the while formulating the brief was that these towns have these local people living there, and there is this influx of people who are pilgrims and who come in during festivals, right? They come in, they're there for a couple of days, a week, and then they are off the city or the town. What happens is, in terms of infrastructure, there is a huge money, energy, time, land that is put in housing all of these people. There's a lot of hospitality projects that are kind of brought into the towns. So we were looking at how can we balance between not leaving infrastructure unused for a large period of the year, and can hospitality, the idea of welcoming people into your towns and your homes, be something that architecture can address and deal with. So with that idea, we were hoping that this year's trophy and the participants and the entries that we get start looking at the town itself as the host and not dedicated hostels and dharmshalas and hotels and dormitories as spaces that house these people. So what happens if the town itself can absorb this influx, and when the influx goes away, it can go back to its everyday. There is no there is no drastic physical change that the town has to kind of deal with. So with that idea, we were looking at how these neighborhoods can transform. How can we look at architecture where through a lens where the transformation is not just for the guests or the pilgrims, but also accommodate the social life of the everyday, the benefit of the community. It could be socio-cultural benefits, it could be economic benefits, because now people are incorporating this this aspect of religious tourism, which is a huge growing tourism layer also. So what happens when architecture comes in and tries to deal with this aspect? Should it be temporary? Should it be permanent? Should it be an extension of the houses? Should it be extension of neighborhoods? Should it be like an add-on in the built dense neighborhood scenario, with the understanding that most pilgrimage towns have a rather dense fabric? Should it come in and should it go out? Does this whole plug-in aspect transform these cities? What part of it can remain permanent also? Because not all pilgrimage towns will give you the same concerns, opportunities. They will have their own intrinsic details. And what this also allows is a cultural exchange, allowing the local food, culture, language, all of that to be retained. So there is this whole new layer and possibility that the smallest kind of intervention can lead to in a larger scenario. And that is primarily what I would say the brief is trying to explore and trying to get all of you young minds to think. Sir, if you would want to add to this.
Sure. Thanks, Neha. I think Neha did a great job and she covered all of it. So if you read the first thing is to read the brief closely. हमेशा जब भी आप लोगों को इस तरीके का think of a design competition, think of working for a multinational firm, or think for you working for a more organized client, आपको written brief मिलेगी हर बार. You don't have studio instructors explaining, or the privilege of meeting the client one-on-one. The client would be a corporation. Corporations are not people. You don't get to meet people one-on-one. The client could be remote. So NASA competitions are a good practice for dealing with more abstract or more absent clients. So Neha did a good job explaining जो उस brief में लिखा है, but सबसे पहले brief को पढ़ें, दोबारा पढ़ें, और उस brief में काफी सारी चीजें clearly लिखी. I'll just add 2 points to what Neha said. One, pilgrimage is booming currently in India everywhere. Millions of people now travel. And pilgrimage has also become part of travel. And young Indians, all of you guys, you travel a lot compared to previous generations. So जब आप छोटी-छोटी जगहों में pilgrimage के लिए you show up, impossible for big hotel chains to create hotels there because pilgrimage is only for a few days in the entire year. बाकी वक्त उनको traffic नहीं मिलता है, and so it's a temporary influx. Kumbh Mela is a great example, but we are not looking at a Mela, we are looking at smaller pilgrimage centers, छोटी-छोटी regional places in different geographical regions of the country. उसमें एकदम से इतने सारे लोग आ रहे हैं, how do we accommodate them? And one way is to use, as Neha rightly articulated, the local context, local hospitality, local infrastructure, local places to accommodate. So modular ideas हो सकते हैं, उस space को double करने के flexible structures हो सकते हैं, tent cities हो सकती हैं on top of existing terraces, and so on and so forth. So you have to think, you put your mind to work. What kind of solutions can we create to house all these people that show up for a few days and then they go away? Or a genuine regional cultural experience. Remember, this is pilgrimage. People are not out there skiing, or people not out there having only fun. This is a little more serious and spiritual and cultural in nature. So more robust all around experience कैसे मिले? So that's the idea. अब अगर specific question हो आप लोगों के कोई इन हम दोनों के explanation and brief के बाद, तो please पूछ लें.
Yes, so we will allow students to allow them to ask for any questions they have. By then, we have one particular question that we got a lot of queries about, was for prototypes. So, sir, can you please explain about the prototype that we are asking for from students?
Good. Prototype का मतलब ये होता है कि एक हमने ऐसी कोई चीज बनाई जिसको हम कई बार प्रोटो मतलब पहला, या इंग्लिश का शब्द है, इसको तोड़ें अगर संधि विच्छेद करें तो 2 शब्द बनते हैं, प्रोटो प्लस टाइप. प्रोटो होता है पहला, और टाइप ऐसी चीज होती है जो कई बार रिपीट की जा सकती है ना. सो थिंक ऑफ गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ ए प्रोटोटाइप. गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ ए प्रोटोटाइप जब हमने पहली बार, जो आजकल एक्सपेरिमेंटल बहुत सारी आपने कार्स देखी होंगी, इफ यू इंटरेस्टेड इन कार्स, you go to a car show, they show you concept cars. That's the first car, that's sort of a prototype that's made. चल जाता है तो उसको कई, then they take that prototype and put it into production and replicate it over hundreds of times. है ना, prototype. पहला उस टाइप की चीज बनी है जो बाद में repeat हो सकती है many times. सो जब आप ये हाउसिंग रेजिडेंशियल एरिया में जो टेम्पल है या मॉस्क है या इट कुड बी ए मजार और इट कुड बी गुरुद्वारा, व्हाटएवर दैट पिलग्रिमेज सेंटर यू आर स्टडीइंग, जो उसका कोर है, इट्स यूजुअली ए रिलीजियस साइट, टेम्पल प्रेसिडेंट हो सकता है, उसके आसपास जो रेजिडेंशियल एरिया है उसको, दैट्स द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ स्टडी, एंड वी आर आस्किंग यू टू सॉर्ट ऑफ फोकस योर अटेंशन ऑन ए 8 to 10 acres of site, और उसमें से about 1/3 of that you sort of take as as the place of intervention. So उसमें हम चाहते हैं आप 5-6 अलग अलग तरीके के प्रोटोटाइप्स बनाएं, जैसे एक कोई घर है उसके ऊपर हमने एक टेंटेड बनाया छत के ऊपर, दैट इज ए प्रोटोटाइप, अगर ये आइडिया चल गया तो अपन इसको 50 बार रिपीट कर सकते हैं। दूसरा, आपने कोर्टयार्ड को कवर किया और उसके अंदर एक टेम्परेरी हाउसिंग यूनिट बनाई। थर्ड, आपने 6 घर हैं और उनके बीच में फॉर एग्जांपल एक ओपन स्पेस है, उसमें आपने कोई पब्लिक स्पेस का प्रोटोटाइप बनाया, फॉर एग्जांपल कॉन्ग्रीगेशन के लिए। अगर वो आइडिया सक्सेसफुल हुआ देन वी वुड बी एबल टू रिपीट इट सेवरल टाइम्स विद इन दैट एरिया ना। सो प्रोटोटाइप, उस तरीके के आइडियाज और हाउसिंग यूनिट्स और एक्सटेंशन यूनिट्स और व्हाटएवर यू आर प्रपोजिंग दैट आर unique, sort of first of their kind, but if successful, people who are living in those places would have the option and the opportunity to replicate them many times over. Ye prototype होगा। Make sense?
Yeah,
Yes,
if I can just add to this,
please.
so that's why I think another thing that was concerning, I think, all the students was also this 1/3 scenario. So like how Sir just said, when there is an 8 to 10 acres site that is identified, which is neighboring a religious precinct, what happens is you use the 8 to 10 acres of the site to understand where things can happen, right? And it's a large site, and what we're looking at is prototypes. So instead of showcasing what is the intervention in the entire land, we are saying that you only sample it out in 1/3 because it is a prototype, and these neighborhoods are not distinct, they are they have the same fabric around. So even if you sample it out in 1/3 of this total 8 to 10 acre site, because it is a prototype, because it is sampled in a small portion, it is understood that it will be easily replicated in similar things wherever they happen in the larger site. So that is how the 1/3 in the entire area and the prototype, all these 3 layers kind of work together in this manner of prototype bataya, उसे 1/3 site area में as sample बता दिया, and there is an understanding कि ये sample पूरे शहर में अगर चाहिए तो रिपीट हो पाएगा। I hope this clears. I'm sure prototypes 1/3 site area were the predominant concerns that most students would have had.
Yes, ma'am. These were the major concerns
Yeah.
that were
I
asked
hope
in the
that
queries.
I hope this has clarified it, and if anybody still needs further clarification, I think we can go about it again.
Yes, sir. So another doubt, another query that generally came from the students is about selecting the site. Like many of them, as a term has been used, pilgrimage cities and towns. So there have been seen like there are several cities and towns other than which we name as pilgrimage cities and towns, where we have during the festival seasons we have like so much crowd and also visitors. So can they choose that type of site also, or like they want a clarity on the selection of the site, like what type of sites can fall in this way?
गुड क्वेश्चन। इसमें हमारा इंटेंट है छोटे छोटी जगह, डोंट चूज प्रयागराज फॉर एग्जाम्पल, टू बिग, टू कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, चूज रीजनल स्मॉल प्लेसेस, फॉर एग्जाम्पल प्लेस लाइक सालासर बालाजी. Does anyone know Salasar Balaji? Khatu Shyamji. These are small, tiny. Just Google Khatu Shyamji, and you'll find this place. Or Salasar Balaji. Google this place and you'll find it. Gaira Viewer would be another one that comes to mind. These are small, tiny, और इंडिया के कोने-कोने में ये छोटी-छोटी pilgrimage centers हैं, और ये usually इनका purpose local sort of religious था, but अब चूंकि tourism बढ़ गया है, and then we also have a resurgence of religious interest in our country across a length and breadth, so more and more. And then third thing, हमारी population इतनी हो गई 1.4 billion people, that these places now attract, they still attract maybe a tiny population, but still in terms of total numbers, it's much more bigger than we imagined. So you get more marks if you choose regional obscure places. वही इसका असली फोकस है. आपको बहुत बड़े शहर नहीं चुनने हैं. Don't choose Pushkar, for example. It's already too big. Chota cities. And why these? And if someone asks you, why are you focusing on this? Because इसके ऊपर कोई attention नहीं दे रहा है इस वक्त इंडिया में. They do not have municipal authorities. They do not really have development agencies. State governments do not really have trust, and some progressive citizens in these places. No one is paying attention. So as architects, most of you would find opportunities and have opportunities to work in some of these places over your career. कोई बिल्डिंग बनाओगे, कभी कुछ कोई होटल बनाओगे, कभी कुछ टेम्पल के लिए हो सकता है, you guys work, हो सकता है you get one of the clients, or maybe a guest house, that kind of a project in these places. So our purpose in selecting this and propagating this is, as architects, you want to be paying attention to these small obscure places dotted all over the country's landscape on which most people are not paying attention to. Yeah?
Okay, sir. Okay, so we have a question coming in the chat box. That is from Shiv. What are the jurors expecting in terms of site-specific storytelling or narrative clarity in the presentation? Also, in terms of postcards, what is expected in postcards other than views of proposed designs?
Jurors are expecting you to tell us an interesting story. क्या जगह है, क्या कहानी है, क्यों बनी ये जगह, कहाँ पहुंची, इसका क्या कैरेक्टर है, आर्किटेक्चरल कैरेक्टर क्या है, करंट वाइब क्या है, उस वाइब को कैसे स्ट्रेंथन कर सकते हैं. You guys understand this term vibe better than you guys pay attention to context. तो थोड़ा वाइब बताओ उस जगह की, वाइब की क्या माहौल क्या है, and how do you strengthen it as architects. That's the storyline. Postcards are highlights. Postcards are, I think, 6 postcards, Neha, correct?
Yes, sir.
6 prototypes, so ideally, 6.
Yeah. So, so those are the highlights. And the idea of postcards usually is if you want to share, कोई आपसे पूछे कि क्या picture postcard भेज देना if you're going traveling, let's say south of Italy. So you send postcards. Those are highlights, right? 6. So, जो भी आपके important details हैं, as Neha pointed out, perhaps the prototypes. So include those in your postcards. Anything else, Neha, you want to add?
And I think in terms of both the storytelling bit and what more than other than the views the postcards can have, because we're talking about people, we're talking about culture, we're talking about exchange of, and like said, it is the towns which really hold on to their cultural, integrities. So the fact that the idea of people and how they use and how they come together. So it's not just about the views and just about the site, but it is also this layer which becomes an important way. And how do the participants relay that in their drawings becomes an important thing to look at. In terms of use, of, in terms of activities and usage of the space. Now, it could be ranging from number of people who can be in the space to the activities that are done in the space. that you prototype, that you're kind of proposing, how do if I have guests put up in my house in one of these prototypes, how does the house function along with that layer? So it is again about the people, that layer, that additional layer beyond the design. What do these things say is, I think, how people use the space and come together. I hope we've answered you, Shiv.
And we have questions from YouTube Live as well. So one of them is asking, can you please explain about the line that is mentioned under objectives to create proposals that integrate hospitality with community well-being, culture, and livelihood? So they wanted to know about what they mean by that.
Good question. सो अगर हम कोई प्रपोज कर रहे हैं एक्सटेंशन तो उसका एक इकोनॉमिक पर्पस भी होना चाहिए. एक बहुत बड़ा क्रिटिक ये रहा है टूरिज्म का कि when we are tourists we go to places to consume local culture. Consume is the word, and we give nothing in return to population that is resident on those places. टूरिज्म से इन अदर वर्ड्स लोकल रेजिडेंट्स को फायदा नहीं होता, होटल वालों को फायदा होता है. होटल वाले तो कोई ओबरॉय, कोई शेरेटन, कोई बाहर का होटल वाला होता है, वो आपके पैसे ले लेता है और वो चला जाता है. उस सिटी को कुछ बहुत ज्यादा, जो वहाँ के लोग हैं उनको बहुत ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होता. सो इस तरह के सोल्यूशन सोचो कि कुछ उसमें लोकल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट हो. ये इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट का उस लाइन में मतलब है ना. फिर उसमें दो चीजें आपने और बोली, एक कल्चरल, से दैट अगेन, दो और थे ना वर्ड्स,
कल्चर एंड लाइवलीहुड एंड टू इंटीग्रेट हॉस्पिटैलिटी विद कम्युनिटी.
करेक्ट, एंड इंटीग्रेट हॉस्पिटैलिटी. तो वो हॉस्पिटैलिटी कम्युनिटी का पार्ट हो, है ना. वो उनको नहीं लगे कि हम बाहर किसी रिजॉर्ट में रह रहे हैं या किसी एडेड उसमें रह रहे हैं, उसका पार्ट हो. एंड देन सो हॉस्पिटैलिटी इंटीग्रेटेड हो, लाइवलीहुड्स की बात हो, लोकल लोगों के लिए रोजगार हो, लोकल हो. That is the connotation. That's the purpose of that line.
Also, yes. I think all of us
Yes, they are. Go ahead.
I was just saying that I think all of us, while traveling, the latest trend is to look for homestays because you want to really be in the real core, and that is becoming a huge manner of traveling and staying. So you can also look at it from that lens, if that kind of clarifies this better, saying when I can eat the local food, I can be with the local people, wear the local attire, get even socially, economically uplift that little region, then why do we really need Lemon Tree and Sheraton to build hotels which only function for like 10 days a year? Can we really be with the community?
बिल्कुल. आई थिंक नेहा, ये 3 वर्ड्स ऑपरेटिव है, दैट होम स्टे, पेइंग गेस्ट, एंड a room in an Airbnb, not the entire house, a room in the Airbnb. So that's the way to think of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Also, another question that we have in the messages from Z118, Chitkara University. That is, it's a similar question. That is, should the site be a proper pilgrimage site, or it can be a temple where many people come during festivals and all?
Yeah, temple chapel. The unifying theme for the 3 years is pilgrimage towns. Let's not disturb that. I mean, I know what you mean कि एक बड़ा अगर टेम्पल है जिसमें बहुत लोग आते हैं and उसके आसपास कर ले. No, go find a small little pilgrimage center and then focus on the area around it.
Okay, sir.
A good way so here is a helpful hint. आपको प्रीवियस ईयर की श्रेष्ठ जो पिछले 2 साल की एंट्रीज हैं GSEN ट्रॉफी की, कैन द स्टूडेंट्स सी देम? Are they available anywhere?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we are allowing them to see on our website. So few of them entries are yet to be uploaded, but it will be visible by tonight only.
बिल्कुल. So आप लोगों के लिए, सबके लिए, it's a good idea to sort of have a look. Don't copy. वो पता चल जाएगा हम लोग. So, but just to have a sense of the scale, किस तरह के pilgrimage towns लोगों ने select किए थे, किस तरह का पहले काम किया. It is always helpful, right, as we do case studies. So look at the cases from the previous 2 years, and as Shresh said, they would be available on NASA website. I think that would be very helpful and instructive for you guys to get a sense of scale, kind of graphics used, kind of pilgrimage centers your colleagues did in recent past, and the storyline, है ना, बड़े अच्छे काम किए कई साल लोगों ने.
So one other question will be, what kind of addition and subtraction could be included in the design for the pre-existing structures?
Yeah.
So I think in the brief we've mentioned a few possibilities of what can be done using open spaces and between spaces, terraces, plugins, temporary structures. So these are the kind of additions. And in terms of how much can be altered, if the student means alteration by any chance, a 20% alteration to accommodate the change should be okay, which kind of respects the existing fabric and also, looks at there is a constraint to what the architecture, the new architecture can do. So in terms of alteration, the ideal up to 20% of change would be acceptable.
In other words, what Neha is alerting you to, कि हम नहीं चाहते mass demolition कर दें इसके अंदर. No, don't demolish. People live. These are, lived in places. They have a character of their own, sensibility. They might not be architecturally the most captivating or most incredible places. ये organically grown है. हमारे, over generations, people have sort of via accretion, छोटा addition कर ये चीजें बनी हैं. So mass demolition is not encouraged. Don't think of, unless there is a already dilapidated house, ठीक बात है, फिर आप उसको हटा के थोड़ी जगह बढ़ा सकते हैं. But essentially existing fabric और existing घरों में 20% तक change कर सकते हैं. उनके ऊपर नई चीज ऐड कर सकते हैं. That's fine. And add a floor, for example. If there are open spaces, add rooms or 2 or 3. That's where the prototypes would emerge from. But जो existing structure है उसके अंदर not beyond 20%. Up to 20% is the way to think of it. Yes, Prajakta has her hand up. Shresh.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for the whole description of the GSEN brief. It was very helpful. I had a doubt regarding that adding to the selection of the site, as you said, for pilgrimage town. But when we look into those small regional locations that are very famous for pilgrimage, and we look up those sites, but they don't come up as pilgrimage town in the official websites. So we get confused that should we consider them or not, because the localites say that, yeah, this is a very famous site for pilgrimage. A lot of people come in the year, and maybe for 2 to 3 months, and then they go, and it's like worldwide known. But when we look up, it's not said that it's a pilgrimage town. So what should we do about that?
आप example दे सकते हैं प्राजक्ता ऐसी किसी जगह का?
My college is in Chhattisgarh, NIT Raipur, and when I talked to the localites, they said there are a lot of places, like they talked about Amarkantak. It is famous for its temple there. But when we were looking up in the sites of Chhattisgarh regarding Amarkantak, and there were two more places. I'm forgetting the name, but all these three places are actually famous for the temples, and people actually come for around 2 to 3 months. But these sites are not under. It's not listed as pilgrimage town or city in the government official sites. So can we choose this? But it contradicts the brief. Then
No, no, it doesn't contradict. You are thinking correctly. And I'm glad you like this. ये जगह कई इसमें से इतनी ऑब्सक्योर हैं कि लोगों को पता ही नहीं है. I mean, नेशनल लेवल पे, रीजनल लेवल पे पता है हमें. And locally they are famous, right? And that's why we are paying attention to them. Amarkantak definitely belongs to this list. बिल्कुल एक मेजर श्राइन होनी चाहिए सेंटर में, है ना? वो कोई भी श्राइन हो सकती है, किसी भी धर्म की, रिलीजन की, सेक्ट की, मजहब की, that doesn't matter. And the settlement around it, वो अपना focus है. So बिल्कुल all the three, you didn't mention the other two, but if they are similar to Amarkantak, definitely go on including them. आप बिल्कुल
thank you.
ठीक ट्रैक पे हो. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So one similar question that I'm seeing coming in the YouTube live chats, that is, there's a line in the brief to be distinct is like is a distinct separation of hospitality and community life, like focusing on the line. Like, can you just elaborate for the students, like how things can be done?
I think we answered that previously.
Yes.
Over हो गया ये, है ना?
हाँ.
Yes, we answered it.
One point that comes to my mind, Shresht, is वो उसमें brief में last में वो दे रखा है हमने 25% की 4 grading criteria है ना? Important to pay attention to those. हाँ बिल्कुल. That is the marking scheme, and in the past 2 years we've stuck to those. So चारों equal हैं 25%. So this is for everyone. Paying attention to all those 4 categories is important and helpful for you to do well in your scoring.
So one more question was that is the whole town or village to be selected as a particular site because most of the area near the temple they can't find 8 to 10 acre town or village.
Could you repeat the question?
So they wanted to ask if the whole town or village that has a temple, so the whole area is to be selected, or because not most of the towns with temple and pilgrimage sites have 8 to 10 acres of land.
So the 8 to 10 acres of land that is kind of been written down or been included is to say that you will need that much to kind of study and understand what and how the town can be intervened with. You know, what is the kind of character it has, what is the fabric it has, how much can be intervened, can it happen on the ground, can it happen only on maybe the terrace floors, or can it happen in between. वो समझ पाने के लिए 8 से 10 acre, या if it is a very small precinct, so maybe the entire I'm not sure if it will be as small as just 8 to 10 acres, but the idea of that area is so that you have a larger fabric to understand what the place needs. And like we said, the intervention has to be in a smaller parcel. So that area is to give you, otherwise what will happen is it will be very small neighborhood case based scenario. The fear of not giving a large area is that it will become very site specific instead of the premise or the town specific. So that is where the number comes in.
वो 8-10 एकड़ खाली जमीन नहीं है, वो एग्जिस्टिंग बिल्ट अप रेजिडेंशियल एरिया सराउंडिंग द टेम्पल है, वो है ना. 8-10 एरिया का बिल्ट अप एरिया आप स्टडी करें एंड देन यू फिगर आउट व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन, व्हाट्स द कैरेक्टर, व्हाट्स द अर्बन फैब्रिक, क्या पोटेंशियल है, किस तरह की टाइपोलॉजी है हाउसेस की, कहाँ कुछ कर सकते हैं, एंड देन चूज 1/3 ऑफ दैट एरिया जिसके अंदर आप वो 6 प्रोटोटाइप्स बनाए अलग अलग काइंड के. खाली जमीन पे नहीं बनाना है. और अगर वो उसमें 8-10 एकड़ ही नहीं है तो इसका मतलब उस बहुत ही मतलब they don't study that place. Maybe it's just a temple with not much around it. It's not a pilgrimage center as such. In terms of that, it's a pilgrimage town नहीं है, वो standalone मंदिर है.
I think but the past two GSEN trophies have looked closely at the temple precinct, but this also allows you to realize that the temple precinct is not just about the temple. There is another layer that we, kind of makes the whole premise what it is, makes the whole town what it is. So it is very clearly about understanding people where they live and welcoming the pilgrims to that ground zero level of the town, which is the residential neighborhood. So there has to be there has to be people living around that temple precinct. So you see it is a 3-year tied up narrative of the town, the public infrastructure and the temple itself. So it has to have that layer.
तो ये क्लियर हो जाएगा जब आप लोग पिछले साल वाले देखोगे ना एग्जांपल्स. पीपल हैड सेलेक्टेड देम ऑल ओवर द कंट्री और उनमें सब में था जो नेहा डिस्क्राइब कर रही है. पिलग्रिमेज टाउन वो था, उसका कोर था और उसके आसपास रेजिडेंशियल एरिया था. इस बार हम लोग आपको उस पर फोकस करने के लिए कह रहे हैं. 1-2 साल पहले पानी पे किया था, फिर लास्ट ईयर पब्लिक स्पेसेस पे किया था, इस बार रेजिडेंशियल एरिया पे.
So I think this answers Bhumi's question in the chat box.
Yes. So I think we have Shiv. Shiv, do we have a question?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you, sir, for answering thank you, sir and ma'am, for answering my previous question. So I had a question about design related problem. There are certain pilgrimage towns in our country which have major gatherings around a particular festivals, and these festivals include some rituals that have an important role of certain animals, like for example horse, sheep and all. So can the design be included if we are doing something, a proposal for design, like accommodate these animals? Can the design be what can I say, so we are considering those animals also a part of our design?
हाँ करना उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम.
Yeah.
A cultural experience, definitely, Shiv.
Okay, thank you, sir.
One question I saw in the YouTube just now is there are a few sites that come under ASI or government restrictions. How do we go forward with that? Do we consider it or assume that we have permissions to build?
ये कम ऑन में जरा वो आर्मी एरिया में के अंदर एक मंदिर है, वो लोग उधर जाके बनाएंगे. कौन बनाने देगा तुमको आर्मी एरिया? रियली ये अब राम मंदिर के पास में बोले हम बनाना चाहते हैं, रियली वहां बनाने देंगे तुमको राम मंदिर के पास, श्री राम मंदिर के पास? Use your discretion when you are all grown up adults. I trust all you to use, yeah. Court case chal raha hai, for example, I mean, there could be some contentious places in the country where it's frozen by a court order. Then don't do it. Look for places that are, I mean, the purpose here is to look for places that are ripe, that need our help. Some places might not need our help. We don't have to, rediscover the wheel. जो चीज जगह ठीक चल रही है, then that's not the focus of this brief. If you read, that's what I said, the first thing. आप ब्रीफ को क्लियरली पढ़ेंगे अच्छे से, ईयरफोन्स हटा के सब आवाज बंद करके फोकस करो ब्रीफ के ऊपर, तो सारी बात क्लियर से समझ में आएगी। हाँ, उसमें लिखा हुआ है, और अभी हम दोनों ने पूरी मेहनत करके आप लोगों को बोल बोल के भी समझा दिया। तो उसमें अगर वहां सरकारी कायदा कानून उसमें बना सकते हैं, क्यों नहीं बना सकते? पुलिस डंडे मारेगी। Why do anything that invites trouble, man? We are architects. Our purpose is to build in a manner that benefits the larger society. Otherwise, the society doesn't need us. लोग तो खुद ही बना ले इंडिया में घर। हम अच्छा बनाना चाहते हैं और सबका भला करना चाहते हैं। That's the purpose of this brief. कि these places, we want to tap this energy that tourism and pilgrimage has created to improve the lives of local residents in these places and the user experience for all of our countrymen and women who visit these places. ये दो पर्पस हैं अपने। जो रह रहा है उसको मजा आए, मैं अच्छी जगह रह रहा हूँ, और जो जा रहा है हमारा भाई बंद, उसको भी अच्छा लगे कि मैं गया, बड़ा अच्छा था जी, हम उस जगह पिलग्रिमेज के लिए गए, उनके घर में रुके, इट वाज नाइस, वी एंजॉयड the local culture, they looked after us well, and we actually got such a wonderful vibe of the place. इस तरीके की बात है।
And there are a couple more questions to answer. Vaishali, so if I would not say urban development, I would say that at the neighborhood level, if edges or common spaces need to kind of become a part of the whole local experience, and they are in your narrative, they come out as important edges to talk about, then you can also extend your prototype to that edge, but not at the urban, at the larger scale. It has to, the scale is the neighborhood scale. Whatever your narrative is identified as, whatever interventions you're doing, it has to be at the neighborhood scale and not at the town or the city scale. And to answer Kavya, the town could be much larger. The 10-acre limit that we are kind of stating allows you a constraint saying कि इस area या इस region की हम बात कर रहे हैं. The town could be, or the area could be a bigger thing, but you cannot, in a manner of a month-long competition, we cannot be addressing and answering or providing solutions for everything. So the 10-acre limit allows you to look at very focused at one area and then kind of offer solutions and possibilities within the opportunities of that area, and hence the limit.
Yes, ma'am. So, Sresh, do you have any doubts? Any other queries do you have?
I guess most of them are repeating questions only, and we will just wait for 1-2 minutes and other questions.
Yes, so hopefully no other questions came in the Google Meet also and also in the live chats. So I hope like this was insightful for everyone. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us. It was really a very insightful session, and we are really hoping to have great, exciting entries at the end of the submission. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
All
All
right,
the best
guys.
to everyone.
Yeah. All the best. Acha karna. We look forward to seeing some exciting work this time.
For sure.
All right, guys. Thanks for organizing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We can end the meeting. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope this was an insightful session for you guys. And if you guys have any further queries, you can always reach any of the council members who are present. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.